This is my message to ColeTheGeek. To give you guys some context, right now, this is a document or Google Doc made about ColeTheGeek and some terrible things that happened in his Discord server involving a bunch of stuff. I've read this document in its entirety a little bit ago. I will leave a link to it in the description. I'm probably not going to read the entire thing today in this video, but like I said before, I will be leaving a link in the description. But what I wanted to say is, actually, you know what, before I even say that, I want to go over this section with you guys so you guys can kind of just see what happened to lead up to the message that I have for ColeTheGeek. Okay. Content warning, mentions of, overdose and harassment, mistreatment. Disclaimer, please do not harass any of the individuals mentioned in this document. This is intended only to educate people and spread awareness of Cole's actions. Censoring the anonymous individual mentioned within I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing this name wrong. I don't exactly know how to say it. I think it's Leia. I don't know. Leia's portion of the document will have their name and profile censored with red, while others will have their name and profile censored with black. Edit. Following the release of this document, Michael has since apologized for their actions. And then it has a link to a Twitter, I'm pretty sure, yeah. So this is a link to the Twitter thread about Michael's apology. For those of you who don't know, Michael is a object show YouTuber by the name of Animated Galaxy. I think I've heard of that guy before. I don't know if you guys have. We'll pull up the apology if you guys want to see it. The link is in the doc. I'm probably not going to read the entire thing, is because it is a Twitter thread. So, yeah. Like I said, yeah, it's a thread, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, what is this? But, yeah. So, I'll leave a link to that if you guys want to go read that for yourselves. So, there's that. And then, yeah. And then we get into this, the first story in the document, which is Leia's story with Cole. My experience with Cole as Leia. My name is Leia, and some of you may know that ColeTheGeek, creator of Clash to be Champion, is currently being called out for his actions. A few of you may recognize my name from the old Clash to be Champion Discord server. I was an early fan of the show from around October up to September of last year. Within the server, there was an incident that occurred involving me, Cole, and Michael/Animated Galaxy, the voice actor of Apple Fredder, contestant in Clash to be Champion, for those of you that are unaware. Around the end of September, I was publicly called out for exercising particularly polarizing behavior towards Michael. As a result of this, I experienced harassment and severe mental and emotional distraught, and I'd like to speak out regarding what happened to me. In September, there was a point where Michael had shown a picture that contained a collection of his plushies. People had replied to the message with compliments and overall saying positive comments on it. Though at this exact time, I was in a VC with a bunch of my friends and someone I know, important yet anonymous, as I choose not to point out their name publicly, who had a tendency of making particularly unkind and mean-spirited jokes towards people. That same person had then replied to Michael saying a rude joke about the photo and hoping he would understand that it was never meant to be taken seriously. And then this is the screenshot. Low-key, get a life. Alright, so this would be the message that would spark everything. And little did we know, this one message, would lead to some terrible things happening. Michael then noticed the response and took it at complete face value, proceeding to question the resentment they interpreted from their message. And then, I guess this is him. Blank, dude, what the fuck did I do to you, like, genuinely? Following that, I had responded saying, don't worry, they're always like that, or rather something along the lines of that. I'm sorry that I can't be confident with my response as my memory is fuzzy from this situation. As minutes had passed, and out of the blue, there was a public announcement in the server from Cole that was him voicing his frustrations regarding particularly rude behavior towards members within the server, mainly towards Michael because of what had just occurred. Although it seemed to be a general announcement, it was directed fully at me and the other person, with Cole directly mentioning both of us by name. It turns out, after I had responded to Michael, he had left the server and went to tell Cole about how he felt. And this is the supposed announcement that ColeTheGeek made. At everyone, what the fuck did I just say a week ago? I said we are going to start treating everyone with respect. Where's the fucking respect? It's just me who did. I don't know. This part is blanked out, so I might say it a bit weird. Or is it just me? Something along those lines. Who deserves respect? It's like the whole team. Or no, it's not just me who deserves respect. It's the whole team. Michael left the server because some of you were being jerks to him. Being a jerk to someone you don't know as a joke is not funny. You are not close to. You are not close, and you are not friends. I will delete this server if it happens one last time. I am so serious. This is pretty blurry, so I don't know if I can really read that. Straighten the fuck up. I am so on the edge right now, you wouldn't believe. The crew and I do so much shit for the show, and this is what we get. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, I'm not the best at reading. Alright, so here's a close-up of their messages. I'm just gonna let you guys read this right here. If you want, you can pause to read it. And, yeah, there we go. When we found out about this, I had a strong panic attack, but before I say anything else, I fully agree that my response to Michael's concern ignored his potential feelings at the moment. My attitude and the way I made jokes was not acceptable. I was rude to people I didn't know as a joke, and never bothered to clarify that I wasn't being serious. I admit that I was wrong, it was wrong of me, and I'm genuinely trying to change. Returning to the incident, after Cole made that announcement, there was an influx of people bombarding the general chat with their opinion on me. This shows a few comments people made after the announcement. I don't wish to show their names in the screenshots, as this was a few months ago, and I would never stoop to Cole's level. You guys can pause to read these if you can. They might be a bit blurry, but yeah. Alright. Virtually all of the responses to the situation involved the discussion of people's feelings about me without bothering to address them privately. People spoke endlessly about how uncomfortable I made them due to my humor and behavior towards other people and VCs in conversations. And I get that. I understand why they felt that way, and why I made them feel uncomfortable when being around me. But I felt shocked as to how they could say all of that in a chat everyone can see, including myself, in a public community nonetheless. The fact that Cole believed it was perfectly acceptable to call both of us out directly by name in a server with hundreds of people was asinine. I don't know. I hope I said that right. Was asinine, dangerous, and extremely negligent on his behalf. Mind you that Cole and Michael are both adults around 18 to 19 years of age, and both myself and the anonymous person I mentioned were 13. When I watched all of this happen, I was disturbed. I had the worst panic attack of my life. My mind was filled with confusion, hate, sadness, and anxiety. A small number of people even had the audacity to tag my name in their comments about the problem and ask if I'm proud of myself for what I did, to which I say I'm not. I was disturbed at why people honestly thought that it was okay to say this to me in the first place without allowing me to respond to the situation. Obviously, I deeply apologize to Michael about how I acted, and I'm extremely sorry to everyone I made uncomfortable. I was young, and I was too focused on making my close friends laugh by the way I treated others while joking. I hate the way I acted last year, and I'm sorry for it. I don't know what more they wanted from me. And then the document continues. When this was happening, I was overwhelmed at the incident, or at the time of the incident. I had many personal life problems happening at the same time. I'm not going to speak directly on what was going on for me, but all I can say is that I was young and going through a lot at the time. Without a doubt, Cole did Without a doubt, what Cole did to fix the situation was the worst way I've ever seen it done. I don't know what was going through his mind at the time, but but his way of handling everything was nothing short of unacceptable. I get that what I get that he wanted his friend to be comforted and cared for, but he should have thought about the consequences and the aftermath of what he did. It seemed like Cole didn't even care for what I could personally be going through, nor did it seem like he gave any thought to my age or mental/emotional conditions. A few hours had passed after this announcement, and I was still on the verge of tears, and my panic attack only grew worse. I saw many people talking negatively about me, and I had never felt so hurt in my life. This eventually drove me to do something drastic. I found myself in a state of pure disarray, unsure of what to do next, unsure if I had a future in the community, or if I had any friends anymore, unsure of what to do with myself. My mental state had grown so unstable to the point where I tried to take my own life by taking an excessive amount of paracetamol. Paracetamol. I don't know how to pronounce this. I hope you guys can help me out with that. I took a excessive amount of this substance. I was so lost in my own thoughts to the point where I started harming myself. I don't want to go into full detail, but I was just so distraught by everything, and it brought me to do agonizing things to myself. I was isolated from everyone that could have helped stop me. This is the part of the document where things get extremely heartbreaking and terrifying for this individual. And later on, we do see Cole's response to this, but it's after a little bit of this. We're just going to go ahead and go over this, and then we'll go over his response afterward. So, yeah. While I was waiting for the effects to take over, I had received a lot of messages from my friends asking if I was okay and if comfort was needed since they were aware of how upset I was at the time. I had felt nothing but pure guilt, so I replied to only a very select portion of my friends about what I had done to myself, which immediately caught their full attention and caused them to worry about my safety. I won't speak of what happened between my friends and I, and all I all I'll say is that they went out of their way to take care of me while everything or after everything that happened. I never meant for this to make it to the Clash to be Champion server. I'm assuming some of the people I told had talked to my other friends, with them spreading awareness about it as part of their determination to help me. News of my attempted overdose had found its way into the server, and soon enough, awareness of it had made its way to Cole. Fortunately, my friends had supported me and convinced me to continue living, encouraging me to vomit and remove what I had taken from my system. Nearly an hour passed, and I didn't experience any severe damage, other than constantly having trouble with my normal bodily functions and movement. That was the extent of what happened. Soon after, I regained a bit of my consciousness and memory I had of what I had done beforehand. I was in a lot of pain, weak, and mentally fractured, but I was alive. The next day, I witnessed a few screenshots of Cole's response and discussion of the situation as given to me by one of my friends, as I had left the server the night prior. These statements are nothing short of disgusting. Alright, so this is the screenshot of ColeTheGeek's response to this whole ordeal. Like yes, 13. When I was 13, I did the same shit, tried to be edgy and all that jazz. Like is just going through their emotions right now. They'll be fine in a day or two. And this is a conversation. I'll get to that in a minute. But what I want to say to Cole, and just about the situation in general, that is the worst response I've ever seen to something like that in my entire life, and I am not joking to you. calling someone's attempt at overdosing and trying to take their life being edgy is completely unacceptable and a totally insensitive way to respond to something like that. Like, I don't even know how to begin with that. It's honestly terrible. It'd be one thing if like they said, "Oh, I hate you, man," like whatever, like you're just really mean or whatever. But like, dude, like this this person tried to take their own life is because of what happened in your server, because of the harassment that they experienced in your Discord server. And the only thing you have to say is that they were being edgy. It's like, my God, dude, you gotta get a sense of self awareness. That is a terrible response to something that serious. And all you have to say is that they were being edgy. Are you kidding me? That is a horrible way to respond to someone almost taking their own life and overdosing on a substance because of the harassment that they experienced in your community, in your Discord server. By, like, come on, man, seriously. And it was all after a maybe a bit maybe a bit rude of a joke that had occurred in the server. It's honestly disgusting. What follows is a conversation that ColeTheGeek had with an anonymous user about what had just went down. I was just told that they tried to end themselves. What's the difference between the specification? Wouldn't it have been better if you said something like, "Don't attack Leia"? I feel like there are people who would do that. Even though it's a small amount of people either way, it would have been good. It would have been a good precaution. And when a 13-year-old says that, it's just them being edgy. Again, dude, like, it's not. This was actually an attempt at. I'm not gonna say the word, but it was an attempt at someone trying to unalive themselves, basically. And your response to that is that they were being edgy. Do you not understand how terrible of a response that is and how bad that not only makes you look, but everyone around you? You're saying that, like, trying to unalive yourself is just being edgy? I don't know. I just can't with that, honestly. Let's just calm down and hope they're okay. We don't know what's happening at the moment. Let's not put too much pressure on it. We can't stop it, sadly. What about don't attack anyone? And then this is the last screenshot. No, it's not that I don't care if Leia is okay or not. It's more so that people just completely shifted the focus from Michael. That's what upsets me. It's because we're only focusing on one person and not both, when it should be both of them. And then this is the response. Cole had the most apathetic and disregarding responses, choosing to compare what I had gone through to his behavior when he was my age and calling that edgy. For harming myself physically, and I am still absolutely stunned as to why he thought this was ever a valid thing to say. Yeah, and honestly, like, you have to have some, like, at least some self-awareness to understand what you're doing, dude. Calling something like that edgy is something that I just can't get behind. Because why would you do that, dude? Why would you do that? What if they actually went through with it, dude? Then what? Then what would you say? I bet you wouldn't be calling it edgy then, so why now? It just doesn't make any sense, honestly. I then found out that after significant backlash towards the way Cole handled the situation, he then decided to lock the channel and the discussion that was happening in, and told people to move it somewhere or elsewhere, silencing the people from speaking about it within the server. After finding out about everything and how he had handled the problem, words cannot describe just how decimated and angry I felt. Cole, the fact that you denounced both of us publicly, the fact that you didn't even bother to think about how people would react to it, and didn't even try to tell people to not harass me, the way you found out about my attempt and compared my life and issues to yours when you were younger, calling me edgy and assuming I'll be fine in a day or two, The way that you silenced people when they were pointing out how wrong you were for handling the situation. The way you never even thought about speaking about it afterwards and moved past it like it was absolutely nothing. Everything about what you did is nothing short of abhorrent and irresponsible. There's so much that you've done to me, and so much more that you've done to other people. So many victims that you've bruised and tossed aside without a thought in the world. So many people you've hurt without any care. Like I said, this is terrible, man. This is really bad. This is honestly really bad, and you have to keep in mind this happened in his server. This happened in this server, and people know about this. There's people who are reading this document, this Google Doc, right now as we speak. And you can go on this document for yourself. Like I said, I'm going to leave the link in the description. There's a comment on one of his posts that has the link in a reply. It's easy to find, and he still has yet to respond to it. And I don't know if he ever will. I'm going to be honest with you guys. To say that I am disgusted is a gross understatement. You couldn't even think of privately messaging me and the other person about what happened. Not even making an announcement without bringing attention to us. There's so much about you and what you did that I find utterly putrid. Yes, you were trying to protect your friend. Yes, you were looking out for someone you cared for. But there's so much you could have done better. And for someone almost 6 years older than me, I expected you to try a lot harder. I'm truly sorry for the way I acted in the past towards others, knowing I had made people uncomfortable and disenchanted. Disenchanted by my behavior is crushing. But I understand why. I've grown and learned a lot about myself from everything that happened, and I hope other individuals affected by this have as well. I'd also like to point out that if you ever plan on making another apology, Cole, I would strongly advise you to release one after only, or not to release one after only 2 days of controversy. Yes, people are desperate for a response. However, it's evident from the content of your response that you have not sufficiently covered everything brought against you, provided sufficient apology slash debunkings towards what you have been accused of. Simply put, your response wasn't enough, and I expected a lot better from you. Thank you so much for everyone who has shown love and support to me after all that's happened. I'm so grateful for all the care that's been sent my way. I hope that anyone that was affected by Cole can have their chance to speak out and share what they've gone through in any way. Please support the victims that have come out regarding their experiences with Cole. They also deserve to have their voices heard and supported. Thank you for reading. So that was the portion of the document that was Leia's story with ColeTheGeek. The last section of the document is Amber's experience with Cole. Amber actually worked on Clash to be Champion, if I'm not wrong. So we're going to go ahead and go over this, and I'll just give my final thoughts on the situation. And then, Amber's experience with Cole. My name is Amber, previously known as Lunar, and I was a former animator for Clash to be Champion and an acquaintance of ColeTheGeek. As many of you have been recently made aware of, Cole is a terrible person, and unfortunately, I and many other individuals, both on the team and fans alike, have been a victim of their disgusting behavior. I do not condone the actions of Cole at all, nor am I here to exonerate him or place a spotlight upon myself. I am here to provide my experience working with them and uplift the voice of a friend dear to me that deserves to have their voice, or to have their story told. I became an animator for Clash to be Champion after Cole recruited me from a mutual crew server we were both a part of, and immediately upon my arrival, I had taken notice to Cole's horrendous workspace practices. As animators, we were given about 2 to 5 days to complete scenes with no storyboarding or creative direction given. So I want to highlight this section so I can, so I have it like saved up. That's really bad. That's really bad working conditions, especially when it comes to animation being as tedious as it is. 2 to 5 days as a deadline is not what you want to aim for. Is because it's gonna take longer than that, especially for more complex and longer scenes with more going on. To give people a 2 to 5 day deadline is just unrealistic, honestly. Moving forward, and we were constantly given reminders of our deadlines with little to no regard for our personal circumstances or any obstructing factors that would otherwise prevent us from completing our work. At the time of my position on the team, I had begun my sophomore year of high school and was dealing with heavy academic workloads, familial issues, and significant emotional slash mental distress as a result of the events in my life I could not control. Due to this, I experienced substantial difficulties in completing my assigned work within the allotted deadlines. Rather than try to speak with me and gain an understanding of why I couldn't finish my work, Cole deemed silently firing me without a word was an acceptable substitute. Prior to firing me, however, Cole would constantly pester me and make comments about my work ethic within the now deleted Clash to be Champion public server. Within said server, I'd often VC with my friends as I found talking with them a um reprieve. I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry, guys. For the dismay I experienced daily. Their conversations, care, and love soothed me and kept me going as I navigated the treachery that plagued my life at the time. Cole completely disregarded and uh, disrespected this notion. However, choosing to constantly point out that I was actually enjoying time with my friends, instead of working on my scenes and making vague notions towards my removal from the team. It felt like I couldn't escape him, always being reminded of the fact that he had his eyes on me, like I couldn't enjoy time with my friends without his disapproval and resentment being constantly drilled into my psyche. Poor treatment wasn't exclusive to me, however, as both animators and audio editors were given similarly short deadlines to complete work. Crunch was encouraged and, in some cases, required to be able to finish by the deadlines Cole set. As a result, I felt miserable working on the project in tandem with this. Oh, sorry. In tandem with this, um, comments were often made against crew members such as Chromatix. Upon Chromat, I'm just gonna say Chrome. Upon Chrome leaving the voice call, Cole, myself, and a few others were in. Cole made a remark stating something along the lines of, "And there goes that guy no one cares about," laughing it off as if it wasn't insanely disrespectful towards someone that had provided their work for you. Chrome has since then released their own thread documenting their experiences with Cole, and I suggest that you read it as well, as it details the horrific behavior inflicted upon them. They too are another one affected by Cole's actions, and they deserve love and support as well. As a former member of the team, I never felt respected, cared for, or appreciated. And much of what the culture Cole had cultivated encouraged unhealthy work habits, resentment, and misery. I, for one, am glad it has come to a close, and I hope no one is affected by Cole's wrath in the future. Regarding Leia. Leia is a friend very dear to me. I love them with all my heart, and to witness this harassment occur to them, witness all of the hatred, despair, and agony thrusted upon them, witness all, witness, and witness then almost taking their lives over this was incredibly disheartening. Mind you, Michael and Cole were both over the age of 18 years old. By the way, adults, and both Lakia and the anonymous individual mentioned within their portion were 13. The fact that Michael was unable to handle a minor shit talking from a minor. Wait, no, the fact that Michael was unable to handle minor shit talking from literal children, and the fact that Cole made no effort to protect Lakia from the harassment that would soon follow, them was absolutely irresponsible and speaks volumes as to the true nature of their characters. To label someone's near suicide as being edgy and try to relate yourself to someone whose life almost ended as a result of your negligence and immaturity, is completely disgusting. I will never forgive Cole for making such an absurd and brazenly stupid statement. Both of you should have exercised better judgment and emotional maturity. Yeah. And I plead for you to do better in the future. Your actions nearly cost me one of my greatest friends. So, alright, so there's that section. You can read that if you want. Pause to read it. That was a lot. And this is my message to ColeTheGeek. Cole, you have to respond to this. This is this is absolutely horrible. The things that you've done are absolutely horrible. And you need to address it, especially being a public figure, is because, you know what I mean? Obviously, these things are terrible and you're not even addressing it. You haven't apologized, you haven't mentioned it in your now deleted response video to the controversy, and I don't even know if you will. What frustrates me about this situation is that these two individuals and many more people were put through terrible circumstances and situations by ColeTheGeek and people around him. And the only thing this actual spineless waste of space can say is that Clash to Be Champion Season 2 isn't canceled, and that he's going to be making it himself. That is the only thing this man has said since this document has came out. Are you kidding me? I don't even know if he ever will make a response. Is he just going to let this sit here without saying anything? Is he going to apologize? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But I know one thing. I can't believe that I've ever supported this guy and even watched his show after knowing what happened in the making of it. Honestly. This dude is a prime-time scumbag. And, yeah, we need to unsubscribe from this dude, honestly. I don't support deplatforming people, but this is awful. This is honestly awful, man. I'm going to be honest with you. This is like one of the worst cases I've seen. And, like, covering OSC YouTuber trauma, I've seen some pretty bad stuff. This right here, this is up there. It might even take the cake, honestly, because this is awful, guys. Like I said, I'm gonna leave the link to the document in the description if you want to read it for yourself. But yeah. This has been TG. I'll see you all later.